All right, we have arrived at the July Democratic debates, and really, what I'm expecting this time is that you could see some more people drop out after this debate. So we'll go through the lineup. This is a little fresh for me. A couple of details I noticed. So this is from the Detroit Free Press, which Detroit is where the debate is, and they are apparently at the Fox Theater in downtown Detroit. But they're saying, here's the question. So this is like a Q&A. Can I attend either Democratic debate? It's unlikely. Most of the seating is expected to be filled by tickets given to the state Democratic Party, local elected officials, and officials with various organizations, campaigns, unions, and other parties. However, the Fox is a big place, seating slightly more than 5,000 people, and it's possible seats could be available. And yeah, that's about it. What the hell is the point? I would say there have to be some debates, in my opinion, that would be in front of the most casual audience that there is. Granted, yes, a lot of the Democratic bigwigs are probably interested in the debate itself, but you're not getting a true reflection of the way the public feels if you already have people who are hooked up in the crowd. That's a big issue, in my opinion, and people should really dwell on that. Apparently, Grant Hill is going to be on a CNN forum before it. You know, Grant Hill used to play for the Pistons. Uh, I don't know why else he's going to be there. Maybe he lives in Detroit now. Now, you're going to see these lineups. On night one, you have the Orb Girl, Marianne Williamson, Tim Ryan, Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Beto, and who's this? This is Hickenlooper, Delaney, and I think this is Michael Bennett. Or no, this is that other guy, the governor, Steve Bullock. And then the second night, you're going to have Michael Bennett, Kirsten Gillibrand. You have Julian Castro, uh, Cory Booker, and then there's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. I think they're actually putting them. This might actually be the way they're positioned on the stage. So it looks like, at least from this representation, they're going to put Kamala Harris right next to Joe Biden. And then, unfortunately, Andrew Yang has to stand next to Kamala Harris, which is a real downer for anyone. And then you have, of course, you have Tulsi Gabbard. I would say Tulsi Gabbard right now is the only one I'd consider voting for. Yang really put me off last time by buying into the Russia bullshit. And then you have Jay Inslee and Bill de Blasio. So, if that position is true, if people are aligned like that, that'll make for a couple of interesting matchups. Of course, that's really funny. You're going to see if it's like this, but it doesn't matter because they're all going to be on the same stage together. So even if it's not in this formation, you could see Cory Booker and Kamala Harris double teaming Biden because he's standing right between them. According to this again, I don't know if this is the way the podiums are going to be, but it looks like it is. Because why else would they have? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. So, couple things to go through. I think we'll go through polling first. The polling looks like it's not going to be great for the Democrats. In fact, Quinnipiac is rating Donald Trump at 40%. Now, 40% doesn't sound good. It sounds below average. But Quinnipiac traditionally, I think, has put him at like 35 or something. So he's doing great in the Quinnipiac poll. And he's also doing not bad in the Rasmussen report poll. Meanwhile, let's look at the ratings right now for these Democrats on the national stage. You actually have Biden still has a steady lead. Elizabeth Warren has shot up above Sanders, and Sanders is still maintaining a solid third place, which he's had since at least the last debate. And then Kamala Harris has sunk back to fourth place. Buttigieg has fallen significantly. Andrew Yang still at like 2.3%, which it's not bad, but it's not going to get him very far. I don't see Andrew Yang dropping out anytime soon, but let's be honest, it doesn't look like he's gaining the traction that he needs in order to be a major candidate. Then you have Beto, also 2.3%, Booker at 1.8%, Klobuchar at 1.5%, Tulsi Gabbard at 1%. That's very. I would have expected a little more by now. I think she's done the best she can to get her face out there. It could be that voters simply are taking their frustration out on her because she's attacked Kamala Harris. Then you have Julian Castro at 1%. Tom Steyer at 0.8%, Bill de Blasio at 0.8%, John Delaney at 0.5%, Steve Bullock at 0.5%, Hickenlooper at 0.5%, Gillibrand at 0.5%, Williamson at 0.5%, Orb Gang not doing too well. And then, of course, you have Tim Ryan at 0.3%, but he's not in last place anymore. That would be Michael Bennet, who has an astounding 0. I guess some people just can't remember a name as, Mayo as Michael Bennet. Here's let's look at the Iowa polling. Joe Biden, I think So Biden at the moment has, still a respectable advantage over Harris and over Sanders. Warren is in third place, apparently. Let's look at New Hampshire real quick. I see that Biden is still maintaining a little less than an 8-point lead over Sanders in New Hampshire. So those two states are going to be key. If Joe Biden can maintain these leads for the time being, it could be, once he gets to Iowa, let's say he wins Iowa, I think it's going to be a huge boost for him. First of all, a lot of candidates are going to drop out. And at that point, I think, some of these candidates who were also rans at the beginning, it doesn't really matter who they endorse. It's almost meaningless because in the grand scheme of things, people don't remember failed primary candidates who drop out very early. I think most people don't remember that in 2016, for example, Scott Walker ran, or that Tim Pawlenty, I think, ran in 2012. So look, if people are thinking, oh, he's gonna really, really need Kirsten Gillibrand's endorsement, no, he's not. It's not going to matter because in the end, the machine is going to do the work for him. So yeah, I think if he wins Iowa, it's going to be a little difficult for Bernie to win in New Hampshire, and then from there, Biden can pretty much romp through the rest of the country, and it will be the same as 2000 when Al Gore was just winning everything in the primaries. So I'm talking about the primaries now. For those of you that are asking, maybe I don't. Obviously, I'm taping this ahead of time, so I can't see you in the chat. But the way the primaries work, I would say momentum is the key. So you're going week to week to week to week. Every time you win a state, it's almost like you sap the energy of your opponents. So Joe Biden will probably, if he can hold on to this lead and not stroke out or something, I think he could easily win so long as he wins the first two states, Iowa and New Hampshire. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. Sometimes I believe this is an issue. I do believe that the polls often are slanted against Bernie, might be slanted against some of the other less accepted candidates. Let's say, Tulsi, Yang. It's difficult to know. But if you do trust the polls, Sanders is not in a good place right now. He's trailing. He's in third place in New Hampshire, according to the average. So that's not good for him. he needs to be at least in second place. And if he can't get back into second place after this debate, which we'll get to the dynamics of this debate and what each candidate needs to do. I don't know if we'll go through every candidate, but we'll try. And here we have this is from Market Watch. It has all of their money raised and spent. So Bennett is not doing too well. He's already spent plenty of money and he's at 0%. Biden has spent 50%, more than 50% of his money raised already. Booker has spent 57%. Steve Bullock has spent 28%, and he hasn't raised that much because he hasn't been in the race too long. It's $2 million that he's raised total, and he has $1.5 million left. And then Buttigieg, I would say, those of you that are writing him off, I think that this debate, he could really, at least give his campaign new life. I don't know if he can really make a good run for the win, but hear me out for a second. He has plenty of money at the moment. He's at the higher end of the I think he's in third place in terms of money, and he hasn't spent much of it. So yeah, I would say that Buttigieg is in a good place in terms of funding. Plus, he raised the most money in the second quarter. Then you have Julian Castro, who's spent 72% of his money already, which is it's not the top, but it's pretty close to there. You have, let me see here, Bill de Blasio, not doing too well. He only raised $1 million so far, but yeah, I think Bill de Blasio is lucky to even be in the discussion at the moment. John Delaney has spent 72%. He only has $7 million left after raising $26 million. He's going to be irrelevant after this time. Nobody's discussing him. He made some good points in the first debate, but I don't think that he's going to go very far. Tulsi Gabbard, 60%. She still has $2.4 million. That's okay, I guess. Not going to really help her win, but she's got a lot of headwinds against her. Then Gillibrand still has $8 million. I don't think anything can help Kirsten Gillibrand. She's got a toxic brand to her. Mike Gravel is not really relevant right now. He's only raised $210,000. Plus, look, I mean, the Mike Gravel thing it's very unfair. It's very, very unfair. He's not allowed on the stage. Yeah, you don't have to like his opinions. I think some of his opinions are not really good, but he definitely deserves to be on the stage. He would definitely make the debates very, very entertaining. And yeah, he's the voice of anti-war Democrats, which, if you're a Democrat, going back, I don't know, the last 40, 50 years, I thought that's what the Democrats were about. Apparently not anymore. It's a real problem for a lot of voters out there. Kamala Harris has plenty of money. She'll still be in the race for a pretty long time. Hickenlooper is not doing too well. He's spent most of his money, and I'm not seeing him getting much more. Same with Jay Inslee, the other governor from Washington. Klobuchar is, I think she's still good money-wise, but it's not going to matter in the long run. Wayne Messam, irrelevant. He's only raised about, according to this, $90,000 and spent $60,000 of it. And I mean, where is he today? And then Seth Moulton, same idea, just a little more, but he spent most of it. And yeah, there's a lot of people in the race that I think they're wasting their time completely. Then you have Beto. He's spent 64% of his money out of $13 million that he raised. I don't think money is really the issue with him. I think the issue is that he just can't get his head out of his ass. And then you have Tim Ryan of Ohio, really a disgrace to the state. He hasn't raised $1 million yet. He's spent 62% of that. Most people would tell you we don't we don't really care for him here in Ohio. He's not exactly making any waves. Bernie, $46 million, the highest amount of cash raised. Good for him, and he has a lot of it left. So yeah, Bernie Sanders. People who are writing him off. Look, I don't like Bernie Sanders at all, but I think when you have a large group of people that are dedicated to a candidate, you can never write them off until for sure they just seem they seem out of it. So we'll see how he does in the debate. We'll get to the debate back in a second, the lineup and everything and how I think things will play out. Then you have two candidates, Sestak and Steyer, who don't have any reportable numbers because they just got into the race and they didn't really have to disclose until now. Swalwell, who dropped out, spent 80% of his cash, and he still has $53,000 left, which I guess he could use for his, or no, that would be $530,000 left. So he gets to use that to run for re-election to Congress. So I guess we see how the game worked for him. Elizabeth Warren still has most of her cash left, and I think she will probably be in the race for a very long time. Marianne Williamson spent most of her cash already. She still has $500,000 left. I don't think that the money is really an issue for her. I believe she's independently wealthy, and she could probably, if she wanted to, she could inject money into the campaign. I just don't think most people are interested in her candidacy. And then you have Andrew Yang, who's also spent most of his money, out of $5 million. I don't know where his candidacy is going. It doesn't look like he's been able to keep the momentum that he started with earlier in the year. So what about these debates and who's going to be the big matchups? I think if we're talking about night one, we'll have to go through each person, okay? Bernie Sanders definitely, he has to be the alpha dog that night. And it's just, I don't see it happening because he's going to be having to speak over Elizabeth Warren. And then you're going to have people who are going to be, these cat ladies who are going to say, oh, he's being sexist, he's not letting her speak, or he just can't catch a break because he buys into this whole bullshit that you have to be the perfect person. And it's going to be very difficult for him to win the debate. Winning, of course, in parentheses, I think it's a subjective result who wins. Obviously, they could do post-debate polls and stuff like that, and people could send out mailers and whatever. Elizabeth Warren, I think, definitely has an advantage. It's obvious from the first debate that I think the DNC and the debate moderators were trying to throw the debate for her. So, yeah, she's in a good position. Buttigieg, I would say, has to, in many ways, set himself as the contrast between both against Warren and Sanders, and kind of show himself to be, I would say, the real practical person is the only way I can describe it. It's a challenge. There's a lot of people trying to drag you further and further to the left. I would say Buttigieg, even though he's not a radical leftist, there's certainly a lot of things that he says that are actually part of the radical left. So, I don't know how that's going to work. The first debate, he had a couple of tough moments. I think Swalwell caught him with that police. What is it? He told him, well, why didn't you fire the police officer and stuff like that? So, I would say Buttigieg is in a position to set himself back on a winning track. It's really his night to gain, whereas Bernie is in a tougher position. He has to deal with, the sexism, whatever. Buttigieg is gay, so he could probably squirm his way out of that. Beto is I don't know what he's going to do. Remember, he started the first debate speaking Spanish. So I don't think that he's really going to win anything. I just think he's going to have to do something outrageous in order to get some attention. Just try anything. He's basically like a drowning swimmer. So, yeah, that's all I can say about him. Amy Klobuchar, I don't expect much from her. I really don't remember a single thing she said from the first debate. So whatever. Steve Bullock, who knows? This is his first time in the national stage, so we'll see what happens. John Delaney, again, he's going to have to look. This is the guy who the entire first debate was saying, "Look, don't go nuts, please, please, don't embrace Medicare for all. You're going to ruin the hospitals." This is a guy who was telling the truth, and he got booed, practically booed off the stage, and that's going to happen again. No hope for him. I don't know why he's running. People have been telling him to drop out. And practically, yeah, they have a point. Why would he still be running? It's clear that the the trend in the Democratic Party is away from the John Delaney type Democrat, and the same thing with John Hickenlooper. It's virtually like both of them are on the stage representing the same thing, and they could just as easily merge together, and it wouldn't make a difference. They have no chance of winning. Tim Ryan, kind of similar to the other two, except that he's more of the blue collar guy and jobs and whatever and manufacturing. He is really struggling after Tulsi scorched him on the war issue in the last debate and 9/11 and Al Qaeda versus the Taliban. So any foreign policy question, I think, is a minefield for him if they are going to do anything foreign policy wise. So yeah, I think definitely those three, Delaney, Hickenlooper, Ryan, if they can't get anything moving in this debate, which they're not going to, they should drop out. And Bullock, by the way, just as much, because he's a serving governor. I don't know why he's in the race. Most people know that these are guys that are not going to go very far. And Marianne Williamson, look, I don't think I have to give her advice. I think she knows exactly how to grab attention. So, I'm just waiting to see what she does. It's like a reverse Beto, because Beto O'Rourke, you're waiting to see what she does what he does that's going to be so cringeworthy that you're just going to want to forget him. Marianne Williamson is everything she says is memorable. You might not agree with it, but she sort of resonates with you personally. I personally don't agree with anything that she says, but yeah, she has that star power. Then you go to the second night. Okay, Biden obviously has to just, I guess, navigate this difficult position with Kamala Harris and Cory Booker on the stage, and they're going to try to tackle him on race, and then that's going to be strange. I don't know how that's going to affect the polling afterward. You would have thought last time he would have dropped in the polls, but he didn't drop that much. So, yeah, I think he has the keys to succeed if he can, just look sane and parry their attacks. Kamala Harris, I don't think she can just focus on attacking Joe Biden, because on the same stage she's going to have Tulsi Gabbard, who we'll get to, who will probably go and say, look, you're making this an identity-based problem. And the fact is that we need to focus on policies that are good for any American and all Americans. And I don't think she's going to have as easy of a fight this time, just making Biden look sluggish, because there's other people on the stage that aren't going to let her get away with that. Castro, look, some people were saying his first debate was great. I didn't really notice much that was very remarkable, apart from the fact that he said that transsexuals should be able to get abortions. So my suggestion would be just don't say anything completely outrageous. But then again, he has to do something. This is, again, it's the same issue with Beto. He's not as cringy as Beto usually. I mean, the transsexual abortion thing it's gag worthy, not just cringe. But yeah, he needs to get attention. Same thing with look, Andrew Yang didn't do well in the first debate. Obviously, there could have been issues, microphones, stuff like that. I don't think it's necessarily, he can't just let these things wash over him. He has to make a big ruckus and kind of stand there and look more assertive, right? He has to. He looked very defensive and harried in the past debate, in the first debate. Cory Booker. Look, I'm not sure what to say about Cory Booker. Apparently, let's look at the polling again, because you can see Booker is sitting on 1.8. So he's not as bad as some of the other candidates, but you can see he's even behind Beto O'Rourke. So I would say just don't try the Spanish thing again. And that might have put you over the top with he could have passed Beto O'Rourke if he hadn't done that. And this time, I think if Cory Booker puts together a presentable debate, he could get ahead of Beto, and possibly, depending on how Buttigieg does, he can move into fifth place. I mean, you can see him on the podium. Yay, fifth place! But yeah, seriously, that's the modest goal that he should set for himself. Looking presentable and being able to surpass Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke, that would be a practical goal. And I don't think it's impossible for him. He does have some rhetorical skills. They've gone to waste in the last few years, but whatever. Michael Bennet, nothing to say. I don't see him winning anything. De Blasio, look, he had a good first debate. The fact is that the main thing that is dragging de Blasio down has nothing to do with his debating. It has to do with the fact that his management of his own city is just a joke. And any questions that are directed to him on that note will look ridiculous, because people who live in New York, remember, there's more people living in New York than any other city in the country. So any person from New York watching the debate, and he's very unpopular there, can pretty much just live tweet and react, and people are going to see a lot of people just making a fool out of this mayor. So I don't see why he's in the race. I don't think anyone sees why he's in the race. I've seen actually reports that his own staff are questioning his decision to get into the race, and it's some sort of vanity project on his part. And then, Tulsi, she needs another moment where she scorches another candidate. And I think she's setting her sights on Kamala Harris, or failing her, maybe Cory Booker. Maybe she'll go after Joe Biden. I think she has. Look, she's not a charismatic politician in terms of her delivery on stage, but she does have a good attack instinct, and that's really what I think she has going for her. She knows how to respond to other people well. I don't think she's very proactive. I think she's very good at being reactive, which might not be a good quality for a president, but it could be good on a debate stage, and I think it helped last time, where she just destroyed Tim Ryan, and he shouldn't even be in the debate anymore. He should have dropped out then. Kirsten Gillibrand, again, everything about her is, feminism, blah, 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 Me Too, whatever. Nobody's going to care. And again, Jay Inslee, same idea, except replace feminism with climate change. So, a lot of these candidates are irrelevant. I predict after this debate, you're going to see Inslee drop out. You're going to see Bennett drop out. You're going to see, let me see here, Delaney, Hickenlooper, possibly Bullock drop out. So you're going to see at least 5 candidates drop out, possibly even Gillibrand. I don't know what she's doing in the race. So that's about it. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm not going to be live streaming. I'm deciding really where I'm going to watch this or how. But that's about it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to me on BitChute and on Minds.com, as well as donate on Subscribestar. Those are all with the screen name Chef Leopard, and on Gab at Starscream85. And we'll see you after the debate. Maybe we'll do reactions after each night. Who knows?